open the Marshfield Conservation Commission meeting of Wednesday, April 17th, 2024. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Our first business item is the Salt Marsh UAS fieldwork. Are they going to be on Zoom or?
They should be. Is Ryan Wicks in the audience? I do
Not
not
yet, I
see
guess.
him joined via Zoom at this time.
Okay, I'm going to go on to B2 then. Tecumseh Avenue and Saconnet Avenue, clearing access to manhole covers to clean out drainage pipes. Do you want to?
Yeah, I can
present
speak on this
Mike?
one.
Yeah.
So Ken Ryan and Matt Kimlin with the Marshfield Engineering Department would like to clear vegetation blocking the access to drainage structures at the end of Saconnet Drive. You can see, oops, I have a few, if my computer will allow me today. A few images here of the work. So this was cleared as recently as 2018 and has been an established kind of access road since 1977. In the recent years, it has since become overgrown and the DPW can no longer access the manholes and the structures there. I believe they need to take a vacuum truck to some of the structures in that area. They're proposing to cut back any brush that is preventing access to the sewer system using the town's brush hog attachment, which is a vegetation kind of removal attachment for a piece of tracked equipment, and reestablishing the former dirt gravel road that once existed with a small bulldozer. They wanted to bring this up for a discussion item with the commission as this was a pre-existing road for many years and since 2018 has fell in a state of disrepair. But they have to get in there and maintain the drainage structures.
Yeah, you can see on this one aerial photo remnants of the road there. It certainly seems like something that has to happen. So
Yes.
I sure don't have any problem with that. Any other commissioner comments?
No?
De minimis.
Vote on it as de minimis? Yeah. I move to let the DPW clear out the access road between Saconnet and Tecumseh for the purpose of getting to the to the drainage and keeping it clear. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye.
Ryan Wicks, I see.
Okay, I
joined.
see Ryan Wicks there, so we will now go to Salt Marsh UAS field work. And Ryan, you have the floor.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you, Mike, Celia, and the rest of the commissioners for taking the time to invite us to your meeting. I'm here with Ava Gersel, and we're both members of the Salt Marsh team. I think a few years ago, Scott Jackson came in and met with you all. He's not going to be here this evening, but he definitely wanted to say hello and thank you for your cooperation in the past. So I think the goal here is to give you an update about the work that we've been doing and the work that we're hoping to be able to do at South River. A little bit about myself. I guess I do have a short presentation to share with you all. Is that still the plan, Mike?
Yes, I have made you a co-host, so you should be able to start that presentation on your end.
Okay, wonderful. Let me pull that up then, and I can present some of the work that we've been doing. Let's see here. Great. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. I think we'll start with the introduction. My name is Ryan Wicks. I've been on this project and working with Scott for the last 7 years and working on this project for the last 6 years. My primary role is as an equipment technician, a UAS pilot, as well as working on photogrammetry and image processing from the images that we collect, as well as, and I'm shifting most of my focus now into doing analysis for all the data that we've collected. Ava, would you like to introduce yourself, I guess?
Sure, yeah. Hi, I'm Ava. I've been on this project for almost a year now. And yeah, I work in the field with Ryan and on data analysis and photogrammetry processing.
Yes. And Ava, it's been great working with you. And the rest of our team, Scott Jackson, Charlie Schweik, Josh Ward, Steve Fickus, and Kate Fickus. So some of you might have talked with Josh last year. He was the lead field technician last year. He's moved on to a new position with a consulting firm, so we're happy for him. Sad to see him go, though. I'll be taking over his role as the field data collection lead. To give you a little bit of overview about the project and what we're doing, just to get folks up to speed, and then I can talk a little about what we're doing specifically at South River. There we go. We have several study sites distributed across the coast of Massachusetts on the North Shore, South Shore, Cape Cod, and south of Cape Cod. So we have a site at Old Town Hill, Essex Bay, and then we have 3 in your area, 2 in Situate at Peggotty Beach, and another at North River, just across the river from the South River site, South River itself. And then on the Cape, we had a site at Barnstable, a site out at Red River, which borders Chatham and Harwich, and then up in Wellfleet at the Mass Audubon Wildlife Sanctuary, and at a DCR property down on Horseneck Beach, or near Horseneck Beach. The kinds of data that we collect, we have essentially, you can think of it in 2 sets. We have our in-situ ground data collection that we're doing, as well as our aerial data collection. So on the ground, we have transect sampling, where we'll go out and actually use a survey tool. We use an R10 unit, RTKG and SS receiver to be able to get highly accurate positions of different kinds of vegetation and then cover classification on the salt marsh platform, as well as ditches and ponds and things like that to delineate them. And then we also deploy water loggers, which you can see images of myself, I guess, that Eva took those pictures this last summer, deploying the water loggers. And so that's what they look like when they're deployed. And then we take the images and we're able to produce photogrammetry products, such as work mosaics and elevation models. But we've also started in the last year doing LiDAR scans to be able to see underneath the vegetation to get a better, more accurate map, high-resolution maps of the peat that is underneath the vegetation. And these types of data collection allow us to do a bunch of different kinds of analyses. The primary focus of this is an EPA-funded project that we've been working on the last 6 years, is to explore new methodologies for salt marsh monitoring, to be able to enhance the ability for land managers to be able to meet their conservation aims and take care of, detect problems early, and to be able to gain some insights on how to address those issues. So some of the products we're trying to produce or work on methodologies for producing products that could be useful are things like classification for eroding banks at a 9-meter scale. We're testing out random forest models and other kinds of classification models that take our spectral data and be able to classify the different land cover classes, as well as, like I talked about before, getting canopy height models, getting just raw products like elevation models for the peat underneath the vegetation, and this can inform, along with the water logger sampling that we do, the hydrology models of the environments that we're studying. So again, if we're on the platform or if we're on site, the kinds of things that we might be potentially deploying are ground control points. They're about 12-inch by 12-inch PVC panels that we put in and then we recover. We can recover them at the end of the season, or we've also found that they leave them in over the course, over the winter. We think we retain about somewhere between 90 and 95% of them are still in good condition afterwards. But we've been flexible working with folks depending on how they want to manage the land, about when we take them out, etc. And we would be walking around occasionally on the platform to get vegetation, land cover, to survey what's where, and to be able to validate our models, as well as deploying water loggers. In a sense of, just to give a sense of where we're at in terms of all of our sites, typically we measure the amount of ground data that we've collected in terms of features, and there's essentially polygons that we've delineated. You can see here at Barnstable and South River, we added these sites a little bit later and have had technical difficulties accessing the sites for various reasons. So it's a little less compared to some of the others, but you know, we also have, sometimes the polygons are just bigger. So I know we have a lot of data at Essex, and so these numbers aren't necessarily indicative of the total amount of pixels that we have for classification. In terms of water loggers, we also started the last couple of years deploying a higher density of water logger arrays just once for a few weeks throughout the season, and then timing our flights to see the flooding extent during those time periods to be able to use the water loggers to validate and inform our models from the aerial imagery so we can get a better sense of where water's flooding and when, just from aerial imagery. And that is a process that we have yet to do with South River and Barnstable, so we're hoping to be able to do it this coming year, where for about 3 weeks we have a higher density of water loggers, at the end of which that year we recovered them. And otherwise just have 2 or 3 water loggers deployed throughout the entire season. As I said, for flights, we collect LiDAR and photogrammetry using our Matrice 600 drone primarily. In terms of summary of data collection that we've done as of prior to 2023, we collect in blue, green, red edge near infrared, shortwave infrared images with our cameras. And what we're hoping to do is to be able to catch up on South River and Barnstable compared to some of the other sites. What we were able to do in 2023, the reason I didn't have it on the prior graph, is that we haven't gone through the full QA/QC process and cleaning of all the data. It's well on its way. It was done a great job in getting us along there over the winter, but we're not quite there yet. But just in terms of the raw data that we collected in 2023, this is the amount of data that was added to that previous table. So we did collect a significant amount. We're hoping to be able to replicate that again this summer. To really double down on South River and Barnstable sites. So this is just a close-up of one of the elevation models that was produced in 2022. And so this is, a false color image where the yellow colors indicate higher elevations and the greens and blues are lower elevations. But our accuracy is typically on the order, lateral accuracy is typically on the order of about 3 to 4 centimeters for our elevation models, and our vertical accuracy is somewhere on the order of about 5 centimeters. That's for the vegetation canopy, which is why the LiDAR is useful. And then in terms of our true color orthomosaics, we're able to produce products like this, which again, I didn't say this before, but we haven't explicitly said this in the past. Definitively, we are happy to share all the data that we collect to make it available to the town so that you can use it for planning or monitoring or just having for whatever uses you might see fit. For either the raw images or the mosaic products. To get a sense of the resolution we're able to collect, again, for multispectral imagery, we're getting 8 to 16 centimeter resolution in each of our bands. For most of the bands, it's 8 centimeter resolution, and so you can see the quality of imagery that we're able to produce that's ortho rectified to be accurate within 8 centimeters as well. So that's the kind of data collection we've been doing and that we're hoping to do this coming season so we can refine our classification models. This is a different site where we're testing out our classification schemes, as well as be able to look for eroding banks like we've been doing at Essex. And that's all I have to show, at least for now, from my presentation, but I'm happy, Ava and I are happy to answer questions or address any concerns that you might have about the work that we're hoping to be able to do this season.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting. Questions or comments from anyone?
I think so.
Just for my own curiosity, what part of the North River are you working in?
Yeah, so in terms of, so it's I was imagining, I don't know, Ava, if you could help me out, I guess, I'm going blank on the names of the roads. I could try to pull it up on.
Oh, no, that's okay. I was just curious since,
Yeah, so
we have
there's-
both of the
there's-
rivers here.
If you think about the outflow from South River, where it goes to the aperture leading to the ocean there to the east,
Yep,
it converges, so right across that river where it converges with North River, there's that whole salt marsh section just to the north. That's the region
okay.
I'm monitoring in. So just east of the sewage treatment plant in Situate.
Okay.
And all the way out
So-
to the sandbar out
So
there.
the Herring River?
the Herring River and the Driftway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, interesting. Thank you. If no one else has any comments, thank you for your time and your presentation, and I'll be curious when your data is all collected to see what you have. Got quite a
Absolutely.
quite a project running there.
Yeah.
Thanks very much.
All right, great. Would you like me to stay on to the end of the meeting or?
Nope. Nope, only if you want to see it, but
Okay.
you're
great.
good.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
I think we have about another year and a half worth of work cut out for us in terms of the analysis, because what we want to be able to do is hand off classification models and things like that. But until then, in the meantime, if there's any of our raw data that you would like access to, we're happy to give you access so you can download that immediately.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. take care,
Okay,
folks.
have a
Thank
nice
you.
evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Craig. Going off of that, we confirmed with the DEP their proposed regulation changes would require advertising in the environmental monitor for a research project such as this. But as this is ongoing and it's already in place,
It's already
no such
in
requirement
place.
is required.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Before we go any further, is there anyone here for Trounce Island?
No.
Okay. Next up is 53 Ice House Lane. There is a hazard tree. Do you have a picture of that?
Yes. Throw it up here. This is the hazard tree in question. I've taken the liberty of highlighting it in red. There was another hazard tree that the homeowner had permitted to cut down through a de minimis activity about a year or so ago. And this tree is overhanging the fence, his property.
We're not seeing it.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to share my screen again. There we go. So this is the tree in question. It's adjacent to this this tree here, which was cut about a year and a half ago or so. The homeowner has a few structures back here, including a fence behind where this photo was taken, and above ground pool. So the tree does pose a hazard to some structures on the property. I would suggest stumping the tree at 4 feet and leaving the root system in the ground.
The tree is the tree on the homeowner's property or?
Yes, it appears so.
Okay.
We could put a note in the de minimis activity too, that if the tree is located on an adjacent parcel, they would need some sort of homeowner permission or property owner permission. But from our site visit and the GIS tools available, it appeared that it was on his property.
It's on that property. Well, I move to grant de minimis authorization to remove this hazard tree at 53 Ice House Lane. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and Mr. Garofalo is not here. I know this particular item is to clear the sight line at the corner of Old Ocean and Cross Street, which is seemingly quite hazardous. So I am comfortable with discussing this, and, you know, if he wants to move forward with this prior to whatever else will be occurring on that property, that's fine. As I said previously, I went to the intersection, and you have to get way out there to make that left turn onto Old Ocean. So I would move that we grant as a de minimis activity the clearing of vegetation there to improve the sight line and the safety of the intersection. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. We have, that's the end of business items. We have one continued hearing, which is SE 42-2973A, 3 Trounce Island. That will continue to our next meeting,
May 1st.
which is May 1st. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. 45 Abbey Street. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 17th, to consider the notice of intent filed by Frank and Ann Curtis for 45 Abbey Street. And I am the hearing officer. And is someone here to present this?
Yes.
Okay. All administrative requirements have been met, Mike?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening.
Good
Ladies
evening.
and gentlemen of the board, Mike Seal. My name's Paul Lauterbach with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors. And I'm here with Arthur Hale, who's working on the project as well. I work with Merrill Engineers and Land Surveyors, and I created the site plan here for a addition to the back of the house. It's a 2-story addition, approximately 300 square feet, and a proposed open porch deck. The house is currently, the property is currently developed with an existing single-family dwelling with a driveway, walkways, landscaping, utility connections. The dwelling is connected to the town sewer. The site is partially in a zone AE elevation 9. You can see it with the orange line there. So a portion of this proposed work is inside the AE elevation 9, and it also is completely inside the barrier beach coastal dune, which is why we're here presenting to you guys. The addition is supposed to be supported on open pile type foundation per the requirements of building department. Andrew Stewart spoke to him a couple times about this project. And we'll have erosion control measures out. You can see in the red line along the down gradient side of the site. And utility connections will be on the inside of the house, if I'm not mistaken. And that's about the extent of the project. We'll be going in front of the ZBA, I think, Arthur, after we have you guys review and look this over and hopefully approve the project tonight. If there's any questions or comments?
The building commissioner, Andrew, has pointed out that you have Bigfoots. You have 12-inch concrete sonotubes with 24-inch bell footings.
Okay.
Any new construction in coastal dune, barrier beach, has to be on an open pile foundation. Bigfoots are not going to be permit.
They're gonna be helicoil screws.
They're going to be held. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we know, I don't know why that was not changed, but on the plans that I have from ZBA, they will be helicoil screws, and the deck will be helicoil screws or the pyramid. Andrew has a,
The,
we haven't gone over that part yet.
diamond piers.
So we could either do the diamond on that.
Yes, only the architectural plan pointed to the Bigfoot
Bigfoot.
footings. Everything else in the submittal package pointed to open pile
Yeah,
type
but-
foundations.
Preliminary structural plan that has been.
Okay.
It's
since-
too close to the house to do the drip pilings. You'll just.
Right,
Yeah, so we
right.
have to do the helicoils, which was
Okay.
done previously.
Okay.
We can resubmit
As long as there's no
structural
Bigfoots.
pile.
No.
Yeah, I guess we just need something that tells us, if it doesn't already, that it'll be helical piles. just so that's clear.
Having something noted on the site plan could be beneficial there.
Yes.
We want to have a revised by Friday.
Do you have any comments, Mike?
Yes, the site is located in a barrier beach coastal dune type environment. All timber will be pressure treated with non-leaching preservatives. The proposed structure would be an additional 148 square feet of impervious material on the property, and a silt sock is proposed to help prevent erosion on site. There's no other previous conservation permits issued for this property.
Thank you. Any comments from commissioners?
I had one. The report mentions that the total cost of the project is less than 50% of the appraised value. I didn't see an appraisal provided.
I do have a.
Okay. And that was one of the,
Andrew has it.
yeah, the building commissioner
Yes.
said, I don't have any cost information on this project yet and have not made a substantial improvement determination too.
Yeah, I brought it to him. I have it
Okay.
downloaded.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't-
was going to point that out, that he also has
Yeah,
to,
because he would deny me if it was over.
yeah,
So I asked, we had to have a professional go out there and do the whole thing. And I gave it, he had it. So if he doesn't, if he didn't download it, I will make sure he downloads it.
I mean, can we make a decision without that information?
we can, because that's
It's not.
a building commissioner decision.
I will also point out that Building Commissioner Andrew Stewart does state that any new foundation elements must be constructed on an open pile type foundation. I would just confirm with him that the helical piles meet that if you haven't already.
Yeah, which I have.
Okay, perfect.
He has approved of that?
Yeah, he'll.
Okay. Yeah, if he were to determine that this is a substantial improvement,
He would deny me.
And then you'd have to come.
they'd have
back
to,
the contract.
yeah, come back and start over with,
So is it wise to just continue it one meeting until that's reviewed by him and?
We've already gone over the cost. He told me about
yeah, I think we can vote on this, you know, in the event that Andrew finds it substantial, which it sounds like you are confident
it. Yeah.
It is
We
not.
decided this last August.
then he would deny them. And if they wanted to go forward, they would have to come back with plans to raise the whole house and
Okay.
go the whole 9 yards. Any other comments?
No.
Any comments from the audience?
I would suggest the following special conditions: general conditions 1 through 18, prior to construction conditions 5 and 2, during construction condition 11, after construction condition 1, erosion control condition 1, the requirement of 2 feet of clearance beneath the structure, and an elevation certificate shall be required.
And if by Friday we could have an amended plan indicating the helical piles, helical screws,
We'll revise the plan. call it the
just
field
so that there is a note, so that going
So
forward,
revision note,
yes.
this Friday.
Yes.
Next, I can get it done tomorrow, I'll revise the plan.
Yep.
Send it over to you?
Yep.
Just so that we have it on the as-built in the record.
All right, so I'll get you a revised set of plans.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay,
Before we make
Yep.
a request, with that information and the building commissioner, I feel as if there's not enough information to make a decision, to be honest. And continuing at one meeting really doesn't, we meet every 2 weeks, it's not. If he has the information since last August, which has been indicated, I mean, these comments came over this afternoon from the building commissioner, I just don't, it's gonna put them in a more difficult position if he denies that the substantial improvement. If we just keep it open, he approves it, we approve it next meeting, it's not. it's just a suggestion, but that's how I feel on this.
Well, what we typically do, you know, we all have our own jurisdiction, and what they're presenting to us satisfies what we need. It's very common for us to say, make a change on the plan, we need it by Friday regarding the helicals. But to make them come back again in the event that, you know, Andrew has some issue, there's really no need. I mean, I feel like I can be confident in issuing orders from us.
I disagree. I looked at the floor plans, 50% improvements on a house that's 1,200 square feet or smaller. I mean, it's a new living room, new porch, new kitchen, new bath. If the house is $400,000, you're talking about $200,000 improvement, new foundation, an addition, 300 square foot addition, 2 stories. I mean, we all know the cost of, I mean, I haven't seen any of this information. I'm just going off kind of my general knowledge of this. And to me, it looks like pretty close to 50%.
If you did $400 a square, which nobody's doing $400 a square,
Yeah.
right? That's $160,000. The house was appraised at $500,000, just the house.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, we
I have the paperwork.
Yeah, I believe you. It's just we don't have that.
I'm comfortable going forward.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be on them if they have to come back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If they have to come back, they have to come back. But I don't think we don't necessarily, they may not have to come back.
They might not.
So I would rather, you know, clear the deck tonight, and if there's an issue, they have to come back.
Okay.
So would we have both of these pieces of information confirmed by Friday? But
It really doesn't matter, because if Andrew's gonna determine that this is a substantial improvement,
They have
So
to come
I'm
back.
just saying, is he gonna,
That's the
Would-
building department,
I understand that.
Money.
I'm just trying to,
But the-
when will when will these,
I would imagine
when will this
it might,
information be?
you know,
known?
you've given Andrew the information, and
Yeah.
I don't know how Andrew
So what, yeah.
processes substantial improvement issues, because that's his department, not ours.
Now I wish I brought the folder.
Well, that's all, that's
I
all I'm
just-
saying.
I
I just
just-
had you look at it.
'Cause if it-
It's at my house if you want me to go get it.
Yeah.
See, it's
My
not,
only concern
Since
is
'74.
if he does rule it a substantial, then changes the
then
project.
anything that happens here is moot,
Right.
and they have to do whatever they choose to do, whether just don't do the project or do the substantial improvement. But they are back at square one in the event that
If
happens.
he denies it, we're not doing the project.
Yeah,
Okay.
So I see no problem moving forward then.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
basic
I'm
human
okay
being.
moving forward. I just wanted to know when, yeah,
Yeah.
I was just saying, is it by the end of this week, all the facts will be known?
Yeah, well,
And you don't have to
he'll
come
do
back?
that. He'll do that, and if Andrew wants to, I don't know, do you guys need the money part of it, or is that for Andrew?
No,
No, it's
No.
no, that's my point, that's
He
Andrew,
did see
you
it, I
know?
don't know
But his
if he ever
decision
downloaded it.
affects.
What I'll do is I'll bring it to him tomorrow and have him put it in there, so it's in there, and anybody can look at it.
Yeah.
His decision, it doesn't really have to influence our decision. We're gonna make our decision based on conservation jurisdiction, and this meets our requirements for that, and we can issue orders. If Andrew blows it up, doesn't,
But it wouldn't meet our requirements under the floodplain. The flooding. It's in an A9,
A9.
right?
yeah.
So they'd have to raise the finished floor elevation. That's what the
Well, for a substantial, they'd have to, yeah, if he
So that's
ruled
why
it,
it
they
does
have to
affect
raise
us.
it.
Site plans show that it would, it complies, I think, whether it's.
But if it's not substantial, this is in compliance.
Correct. Right. So his
So-
decision does affect us, is what I'm saying.
But what they're showing us is in compliance with our regulations.
I think it's the finished floor, I think it's 12.4.
Assuming it's not a substantial.
Assuming it's not a substantial improvement.
That's what I'm.
Yeah, I get you. I understand what you're saying.
Mm-hmm. No, I get what you're
Yeah.
saying, but speaking only for myself, I'm prepared to issue orders tonight. And if anything goes
I
wrong,
guess it's on the applicant.
it's on the
Yeah,
applicant.
Okay.
Okay? All right, I move to issue orders of conditions, which Mike has already read. I move to approve issuing orders for 45 Abbey Street. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll get you the plans, hopefully tomorrow.
Perfect, thank you.
And I'll have them download that, Mike, all that information.
Okay.
And anybody can look at it.
Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Hope it's not substantial. Okay. 93 Beach Street. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 17th, to consider the notice of intent for 93 Beach Street. And the hearing officer is Vice Chair O'Donnell.
Thank you. Mike, can you confirm administrative requirements on that?
Yes, taxes, fees, butters, and DP number have been.
Okay, I see Mr. Savant.
Yes, good evening. Rick Savant with Stenbeck and Taylor. We are here for this Beach Street project, which is a raise and rebuild. They're going to demolish the existing cottage and build a new home on a concrete foundation with adequate flood venting for the enclosure below the elevated floors. We are in an AE12 flood zone. They're proposing finished floor at 18.5. The area beneath the finished floor is just be for vehicle storage and other storage. Again, it will be vented properly. This project will be going in front of the zoning board for its other pertinent permits, for special permit for the setback. But also, the garage in the back is proposed to be removed. There is an existing brick patio and a garage at the rear of the property that's going to be coming out as part of this, and the new structure. We have a floodplain permit in process with the building department. I'm not aware of any comments that need to be addressed through that process as of yet. But essentially, that's what we're hoping to do, is another raise and rebuild, flood compliant foundation. This one is not in the Barry Beach or anything, or within any other resource areas, the salt marsh or anything like any buffer zones. So that's what we're hoping to do with this one. And I'll do my best to answer any questions you might have.
Okay, thank you. Mike, your comments?
Yep, the applicant is proposing to raise and rebuild the single-family home on the property. The proposed home would be larger than the existing structure, would create an increased impervious area of 1,915 feet, which is a 366 square foot increase. The block shed in the rear of the home, as Rick mentioned, would be removed along with the attached brick patio. The proposed foundation is a concrete foundation. Flood vents, 6 flood vents in total are proposed, and a pervious paver drive is also proposed. There's no prior conservation permitting on this property.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I see with this is there's an elevator included in it, but the building commission has commented on that, and it seems to meet requirements. I'd like to open it up to the commissioners. Everybody good? Anybody in the public? I see nothing. I'd like to make a motion to close the hearing and issue special conditions. Mike, do you want to comment on?
Yes, I would suggest the following special conditions: general conditions 1 through 18, prior to construction, conditions 5 and 2, during construction, condition 11, after construction, condition 1, erosion control, condition 1, and an elevation certificate shall be provided at the conclusion of work.
Thank you. Do I have a second for the motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Rick.
Excellent.
Thanks,
Thank
Rick.
you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, 11 Steamboat Drive. In compliance with the regulations of Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Code of the Town of Marshfield, Chapter 294, Wetlands Protection, a public hearing will be held by the Marshfield Conservation Commission on Wednesday, April 17th, 2024, to consider the after-the-fact request for determination of applicability filed by Jewel Osh at 11 Steamboat Drive. And the hearing officer is Commissioner O'Donnell.
Okay, thank you. I don't see anybody in the room, and I don't see, is there anybody online to talk about this?
I don't see anybody online. Is there anybody online to talk about 11 Steamboat?
Okay, so, so the administrative requirements, I guess the only thing was taxes, and they're all
Yep.
set? There was
Yep.
no
Taxes and
notification?
fees have been paid.
Okay. So, this is an after-the-fact request for determination of applicability. Essentially, what happened was on May 26th of last year, there was a release of an unknown amount, but greater than 10 gallons of oil during an oil delivery. The oil tank, as I understood, was replaced above ground in the basement, and there was a problem with the piping, and the intake got crossed with the vent, and when the oil delivery came, it went down the wrong pipe, which resulted in an oil spill in the basement. The family immediately notified, the powers that be, and they went into action. They contracted with Green Environmental, who went in and the oil spill was basically in the basement. They removed 10 cubic yards of soil that was contaminated by the oil spill by cutting a hole in the basement. They then did groundwater sampling. The house is adjacent to vegetated wetlands, and it's close to water supply, right, Michael?
Yes.
Groundwater. And they did they tested the soil after the work was done with sampling in October, and all the results, which were reported in a report by Green Environmental, showed that the area, the polluted, contaminated soil was removed. They then filled in the hole in the basement. They put cement over the floor, and they notified the town administrator and the Board of Health in December of 2020, last year, December 2023, that the solution was permanent and with no extra conditions. Is my articulation of what happened there accurate, Michael? Do you have anything to add?
Yes, that's accurate. As you mentioned, it was an estimated greater than 10 gallons of heating oil was spilled. A portion of it did penetrate through the foundation of the home and reach the subsurface, at which point roughly 10 cubic yards of material were excavated, shipped off-site, and properly disposed of. The packet even includes the hazardous waste manifest for that material. At the end of work, it was backfilled with clean material. As you can see, they patched up the foundation. There was a small amount that was also removed and excavated on the other side of this wall in the basement, which you can see from the site plan that they put together. There were monitoring wells as well, at which point, after everything was remediated, they took samples and it was back to baseline levels, essentially. No further work is proposed on site.
Yep. And everything was documented, in the study submitted by Green Environmental. So, are there any questions, comments from Any of the commissioners, or Michael?
I will say that there was a prior permit on this property, 2015 determination of applicability to upgrade to a septic system. The old cesspool was backfilled with sand. And
Okay. All right, so I think if there are no questions, so Mike, so this is all after the fact, so I'm going to ask you about any suggestions for best practices or anything, but it's kind of like
yeah,
after the fact as well, so.
probably best management practice wouldn't be relevant here. I would put down to obtain all pertinent permits in case something further is needed from the state or from a health department point of view. We haven't received comments on either. And then, yeah, it's essentially, that would be the only condition
Okay.
in this circumstance.
All right, so then, no other further discussion. I suggest that we issue the determination of applicability with a +5 and a -2. Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye. Okay. That concludes our hearings. We have a couple of requests for certificate of compliance. The first being SE 422984 at 25 Carolyn Circle. And that is largely done as, according to the site plan. However, there is a small erosion issue that I think, you want to speak to this, Mike?
Yes, I was on site. While I was on site, I observed in the area of one of the conservation markers a significant amount of erosion. Without the silt sock here, you can see some of the erosion piled in front of the silt sock. Without the silt sock there, it would just go directly into the wetlands. I would suggest having the homeowner lay some sort of erosion control mechanism there, whether it be trap rock or some other solution they come up with that would be approved by the commission. But with the issuance of a COC and the removal of this sock, this material would just go straight into the wetland, just go right downhill.
Yeah, it looks like it's almost over the sock anyway.
Yes.
Okay, I suggest that we table this have you communicated with them, or?
I will be in touch with them.
Okay.
I have not yet.
I move that we table this, SE 422984, until the erosion has been addressed. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And then we have the perennial 162 Bay Avenue, which we have an update, and but it's still not, where am I? Okay.
So they're removing the enclosure.
Right, but we're still not all the way there, right?
Yep.
What am I missing? Oh, here it is. Okay, 162 Bay Ave. The enclosure is in the process of being removed, and the building inspector will be meeting with the carpenter tomorrow to go over how to make the repairs properly. So we are going to once again table this until this situation is fully resolved. So I move to table until we have a further update. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And 160 Bay Ave, the building commissioner has reviewed the elevation certificate, and it indicates that this property is still in violation of FEMA's and Marshfield's floodplain requirements. They still need to add smart vents to the blocked panels and raise the floor elevation 4 to 6 inches. And now we have a new grade level deck beyond the footprint of any original development. So, this one is going to also, I move to table this also until these issues are resolved. May I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, that concludes our business for tonight. I move to close the Marshfield Conservation Commission April 17th, 2024 meeting. May I have a second?
Second?
All in favor? Aye. Aye. We are adjourned.